All right, folks, this was dumped into the garage, and I had a customer reach out to me, and he said, hey, I got this. I want to give it to my kid. I got it for free, and need you to make it gaming capable. I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, man, it's, the small flavors of the Dell. It's an Optiplex 3060. It has 8th gen technology. But the issues I run into with these is the graphics card. And I'll open it up and show you. The problem that I have with them is that the way it's set up, you don't have a lot of options for the graphics card. It has to be the low profile flavor. And then even then you need power for something decent. You need power for the graphics card. Now there are some options like the RX 6400. There's a Quadro flavor out there that works good. I think like the A2000, but he's on a budget. So I asked him, what's the budget and what are you expecting me to do? And I was blown away by what he said next. He said, bro, I got you. He said, been watching your videos and took some notes out of your book. I'm like, cool. So let me show you what he scrambled up. So first things, he's got 32 gigs of DDR4, two 16 gig sticks, the Kingston flavor. This is the 2400 speeds. He paid $20 for this. Facebook Marketplace. I'm like, wow, he's going to put me out of business. He keeps getting deals like that. He picked up this 256 gig M.2 for 10 bucks. Yeah, $30. Wow, pretty good. And the cream of the crop, he got a 4060 low profile. I'm like, wow. Folks, he paid $120 for this on the Facebook Marketplace. I've tested it. It works perfect. I mean, this thing is like brand new condition. The story behind it is the guy bought it thinking it was something else and, well, didn't work for him. He forgot to return it. So $120, pretty sweet deal. But the issue that we're running into is, well, it requires supplemental power. That's not good. And when I open this thing up, you'll see that we're not going to have a lot of room for this. So that is not good. So let's go ahead and let's open this up and kind of give you an idea of some of these concerns. So the Joker is small, but the cool thing is that it does come with a 1 terabyte mechanical drive, so he can put all his games and files on there. So even though he has the 256 M.2, this will work. It's a good option for now. Later on, he could pop in an SSD or just get a real nice big M.2. But he's on a budget. But the other issue, we don't have supplemental power for the graphics card, so that's definitely going to be an issue. If you look right over here, yeah, this is not going to fit. This is too wide for this slot right over here. So as you can see, I mean, let's see if I can get that in the camera. Pop it right over there. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Definitely not good. So I have to think about this. So we need to put a power supply in here that, number one, has supplemental power for the graphics card. Number two, that's lower in profile because, well, the graphics card is not going to fit. Now with these, I have seen people, and I've done it too. I'm not a fan of it. Looking back at it, I put something like an RX 6400 in it. It's a single slot, but the problem is it really gets choked off by the power supply because it's just sitting right there. There's maybe 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch thickness. So yeah, it's gonna run loud. I've seen performance degradation with that. That's not good. Now the other issue that he did have, and luckily eBay to the rescue, he didn't have the low profile bracket for this. But eBay, $10, we now have it. So $120 for the graphics card, $10 for this, that's $130, $10 for that, that's $140, and then $20 for the memory. That's like what, $160? I think my math is right, $160. So these are really good deals. And then of course this was free and given to him. I think it was an Office PC or something like that. So anyways, I'm getting off topic. We got to come up with a way to fit all this stuff in here. So let's brainstorm. So it was actually a week later, and after some researching and brainstorming, we got an idea. So this is what we got. A power supply. And this is going to work perfect. So this is the Pivia ITX Power Series, and it's the 500 watt flavor. Now I know people are gonna get jostled and a little like, whoa, Pivia, this thing is cheap. I've read a lot of reviews on it. I've seen some testing on it, and this thing actually holds up pretty solid. Now, I've actually used this brand in a couple of budget builds, not the ITX flavor, but the normal flavors. And I've had computers that are 2-3 years that are running solid with 500 watts, 600 watts, pretty decent. I haven't run this one personally. In fact, I actually picked myself up one for another project that I am doing that's going to be my personal build, so stay tuned for that. But this is going to work. So this was on the Amazon. I think it was on sale for like $40. I'm sure it's gone up since then. I'll have to double check. It was one of those weird flash sales that Amazon has, but I picked this up for $40, which is not a bad price considering, you know, the small flavor that it is. And check this out. Look how thin it is. Supplemental flavor, and we got instructions, which kind of gives you the, you know, the idea of it. So if you guys want to read that, check that out. You can pause it right over here. Now, this is the 500 watt. This is the 400 watt. This is the one that we got. But everything looks pretty good. Now, this is not going to be a high-end gaming PC. I mean, the 4060 draws, I think, at max 120 watts. This computer right over here doesn't draw no more probably than 200. So we still got definitely headroom, and with the surge in voltages, we're good. We're covered. Comes with the power cable and all our extra connections that we need. Get rid of the twisty tie. These cables are actually not super long. We'll use only what we need, which is going to be the power flavor. And we're not going to use the SATA. It even has Molex. Okay. And I think it has for the CPU and for the graphics card. So we're good. Now, one thing that we are going to need to do this is we're going to need this 6-pin to 24-pin. They sell it on the Amazon. They're like $10. One-day shipping, folks. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this thing open, or it's already open. Dive into it. Let's just kind of get this out of here. There we go. And we're in. Now, let's move that out of the way. So first things first, let's pop out this power supply. Let's unplug everything. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm hoping that CPU power is long enough. I haven't done this before, so I'm kind of winging it, but the ideas are there. And if the ideas are there, that means it should work, right? I don't know. Okay, so that should be it. And now that little blue button right over there, push it down and this should slide right out just like so. So that was the easy part. Now we got to make this thing work. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough for what they want to do. And when you're doing stuff like this, be honest with your customers. Kind of let them know, hey, this is what we got, and this is what we got to deal with. So now, looking at it, the issue that we're having is that, number one, this tab, this right over here is blocking the power plug. That's nothing that a quick Dremel won't fix. And then kind of the same thing over here, blocks the fan just a little bit. So that is something we have to keep in mind. So the first thing that we need to do is there's actually a tab just like this one that holds the old power supply into place. So all I did was just bend it back, and the little excess I pushed it down, filed it so we don't slice our fingers open and donate our blood to this computer. Now, yeah, it gives me more room for this thing to sit down. Before it was kind of poking up. And here's what we're thinking. So in there we have one hole that we could screw it in. And if I slide it up just like so, if I get rid of this tab, which I'm just gonna take that out, I should be able to slide this thing over. It would clear the power plug, and I think this will work. So let's try that. Let's go the path of less cutting is better. See if we could bend it back and forth, which I don't think that's gonna actually work. Looks a lot better. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut out the Dremel. I want to get that a little more precise. See how it fits. It's like almost there. There's a little tab right there that's keeping it from sitting flush, so we're going to do the right thing and delete on that as well. So I did a bunch of dremeling and cutting off camera just to make this more square, but I think I got what I wanted. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And I got some touch-up paint, which we could clean that up. Now, as far as this gap over here, I got a couple of options, neither which I have and will I be doing right now. But you could cut a piece of plastic and kind of seal that up. Another thing I saw on the interweb was that somebody 3D printed like a, kind of like one of these, but that bolted into this hole right over here, and that would actually look pretty good, provide you more airflow. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. I'll talk to the customer on what he wants to do, because it might take me some time to outsource that. I don't 3D print, or I might just kind of see what I have lying around the garage and we could just kind of ghetto rig it. We'll see. But anyways, now we need to secure this. And I dropped the bolt into the abyss, which is fine. Now there's a screw right under here, and I know the camera angles are bad, forgive me. I know we could get it in there. There we go. And actually, now that I think about it, let's kind of loosen it just a little bit, just to So far we're looking pretty good. We got one up here, we got one right over here, and just because the way it is, it's actually resting against the case, and as you can see, nice and secure. Yes, you want to have 4, but this is more than enough. It should be fine. And the only issue I don't like is this is sitting up, so I might try to come up with some way to hold it down. So I'll have to brainstorm that off camera. Alright, so now we need our cables, which, let's go with our 24 pin. And it's going to be a little tight. I mean, we're making something that's not meant to be to be or not to be. I was not good in English. The whole Romeo and Juliet story, I failed it in high school. Now this one is for the CPU power. And that's going to be interesting because I don't think I have a lot of slack to get up there. But let's just try to plug it in and see what we can do with the wires. could potentially cause us an issue. We'll see. Now, let's pop out this 8 gig stick of memory. I think this one only has an 8 gig. Does it? Yeah. Let's put our 2 16s in here. At least get this in there, and then we can kind of maneuver. All right. What I'm thinking the game plan for this might be, and I'm learning real quick that ITX is hard to record, is unplug this and just kind of maneuver, maybe. All right, I'd also realized that I need to take this thing out. And the reason being is, well, got to change the thermal paste. So let's do that real quick. But I think this is going to work because this is going to sit under there just like so. And I think we'll clear the graphics card. An extension would make it easier because then we could just feed it all the way around over here. But we're on a budget. Well, customer is. And I just volunteered to, you know, do this to help him out. And it's fun. I enjoy doing stuff like this. Frankenstein, as you will. It's dry. I'm sure it would have worked, but one of those while you're there's. Oh, and this is an i3 8100. So I spoke to him about this and I said, hey, this i3 8100 is a little bit on the weak side. And he's on the hunt to get an i7 8700. So unfortunately, I don't have any i5 8th gens or i7 8th gens to sell him if I would. If I did, I would definitely do it. Just way we could kind of gauge the performance a lot better on this setup. But you got to do what you got to do. And he's anxious to get this thing running. And I'm a little anxious to kind of see how this Frankenstein works. Alright, so let's see if my plan for world domination, well, getting this thing in, works. Pull. I did swap out to the low profile bracket. Oh man, you gotta bend these things out. Lame. Kind of committed at this point now. You know, now that I think about it, I might be able to use those to fill in that gap, which would actually look factory-ish. We'll play with that later, so I might keep those. So if you watched that last clip, or you've been watching the whole video, you're gonna realize I ain't too smart. I didn't think about this. I didn't see it. It is what it is. So here's the problem. The PCI port is here, which now we got room for a graphics card, but if you look, we don't have room for anything else. That's a bummer. We can't use the top one because of compatibility issues, you can see there, and even with the graphics card. That's unfortunate. We're done with this project, folks. I'm gonna have to call the guy and tell him that we're not gonna be able to work. And I can't believe that I didn't see this. This project is not over, but it is in the sense that, well, I guess it's over with our initial plan. The initial plan was to put in a 4060 low profile, but I really didn't account for this, even after doing all this work of hacking and cutting. And even then, I mean, the only other option for this machine would be to put something like an RX 6400 in the A2000 or 4000, whatever version it is, because it's low profile. This power supply would still benefit it because it's not going to be as tall as the other one. and the card would breathe and perform better. But I unfortunately don't have any of those. He doesn't have one of those. So let me reach out to him, see what he wants to do. I mean, he's still got really good deals on these parts, but let me reach out to him and then we'll discuss everything at the end. So it's actually an hour later, and I reached out to the customer and I told him exactly what happened. I screwed up. I didn't plan properly. It's my fault. It is what it is. So in talking to him, he was pretty cool. He completely understood. He understands that sometimes, you know, things happen. I am kind of rushing this project a little bit because I've been juggling this between work and doing a lot of overtime at work and house projects. Still catching up from, you know, being an out year for back surgery. So this one is my fault. I need to slow down a little bit and pay more attention. It's unfortunate that we can't put a graphics card up here. I mean, if this slot would have been like right up here, that would have been perfect. We would have been good to go. But I mean, yeah, that's not going to work. The option that he has is to get a RX 6400 or that Quadro single profile one, whatever it is. That would work perfect. I did offer to eat the cost of the power supply. He says no, he wants to keep it. And while we were talking about it, it makes more sense because if he gets that graphics card, then it would breathe a lot better. I've run into issues with these ITX running in the single slot where the graphics card gets choked off, it starts overheating, you lose performance. This is going to give us a lot more room and allow the graphics cards to run a lot better. For now, he wants me to put it together, put in the M.2, the 32 gigs, which we have. He said, let's put it all together, let's run it. He'll take it and he'll go ahead and just use it for now until he gets that graphics cards. As far as this one, since he can't use it, I offered to buy it from him for $200. He paid $120, $200. He agreed upon that. So now I have two 4060s, which is awesome. And well, it happens. But in the end, I'm glad I have cool, understanding people that I deal with. Own up to your mistakes and slow down and pay attention. That's the best advice I can give. I wasn't going to post this video, but I think I will, just to show kind of how dumb I was. And I'm sure many of you were watching this probably saying, oh, it's not going to work, it's not going to fit, you know, this, that, and the other. And you're absolutely right. So comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Have you ever run into a situation like this where you planned out a project and you just kind of missed an important detail and it fell apart? What do you do in that situation? And had this project worked like it should, how well do you think a 4060 would have performed with, well, in this case, an i3 8100? But let's just pretend it was an i7 8700. How well do you think they would have complemented each other? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. And as always, we'll see what we come up with next.